quickly things can change in a week and in 10 minutes, let's be honest, in footy. How does it feel a couple of days on from the exploits of Friday night?
The players feel terrific about it. The fact that they were able to finish off that last 10 or 15 minutes of the game so strongly with our run, our contest, being able to think clearly at important moments, all of those things really stood out, and it was terrific that we finished the game so strongly.
We've asked about the mental fatigue or physical fatigue. So what did you take out of the performance in terms of trying to dispel any of the doubts around that?
Well, it's just a natural thing that I'd say most clubs at different times of the year go through. So it's just a matter of giving them, providing a really strong platform to the club and the players that they can really finish the game strongly. And their running was outstanding in the last quarter, and their ability to be able to compete in the big 50-50 contests was a real highlight.
John, without knowing how much you've seen the players, since the game, have you noticed a different in confidence, or is their demeanour straight away after something?
Well, obviously after the game they thought it was terrific. The crowd was massive, and the feeling after the game was one of great. I guess not so much relief, but more about reinforcement of what we're able to do in an important part of the game. And it was just the reinforcement of our run, our contest, our structures, our ability to be able to think clearly. All of those things really stood out, and the players had reinforcement of that. And when you get reinforcement of that, you feel better about yourself, and we're able to get the result, and that certainly helps with that.
It's been great to have that improved performance metric as well. What does actually winning do as well?
Well, we've won a few times this year, and so it hasn't been too bad. We've had a feeling a couple of times, so it's just more the reinforcement of what we do, and when we do it well, that it stands up, and so that's important.
John, right at the end, we obviously had a decision on a potential 50-metre free on McCartan on McStay. In the post-press conference, there was mention that home ground advantage. What was your take on that, if anything?
It was an extraordinary admission from a coach of a team that has the biggest home ground advantage in the AFL. This year they play 14 games in the MCG. They play 3 at Marvel. That's 17 games, essentially in front of their home crowd. And they play finals and obviously the grand final on their home deck. I wonder what Chris Fagan thought of those comments. That was my initial thought, I wonder what Chris Fagan thinks of this. Because it's a pretty extraordinary admission from the club that has the most and the biggest home ground advantage in the competition.
So in Essendon this week, at this time of year every game's important, but I guess what's the benefit of having a real finals-like game when they're playing for their season at this time of year?
Well, it's another great contest. It's I think every week now, if you look at all the games that you saw them over the weekend, they're fantastic contests. We'll be looking forward to a red hot one against the Bombers this week. So they didn't kick as accurately as what they would have hoped in the last quarter, which may have had a bit of an impact. But they're a very good team. They're a much improved team. So we're looking forward to that contest, getting to Melbourne this week and having another crack at it.
Could you have any troops back, potentially Lewis Melican?
Maybe Lewis Melican's a chance. Yeah, he's able to train, and he could possibly be available. We think that all things are pointing towards him being available.
How far away is Tom Hapley?
Maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah, he's probably a couple of weeks along with Justin McInerney.
In time for finals potentially?
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.
How important to back up with that? Sorry, how important to back up that result and get a little bit of momentum? I think you in one of your last 2, you finished first in the top 2, but you could also miss the top 4. So how important to back this up?
Well, I think it's important not to live in the what ifs. You sort of need to live in the moment, and I thought that's what we did really well on the weekend. It was 27 points down halfway through the last quarter, and we maintained our ability to be able to live in the moment. And I thought that was a real key. So, we don't sort of worry about that too much. If you live in the moment and you look after what you need to at that particular point in time, that's the main focus. And if you do that, you don't worry about other things. And I think that's an important thing to keep hold of, is that we live in the moment.
Just on Craig's comments, obviously annoyed you. Did it sour the win for you at any stage when you read them after the game?
No, it didn't sour it. I mean, it's probably, I think in the end, I was at a North Melbourne game this year, North Melbourne Collingwood game, when a couple of Collingwood boys went over the mark, and it could have been a 50, and it wasn't paid. So I just think, from the coach of the team with the biggest home ground advantage, including grand finals at the MCG. Jeez.
Do you agree with him though? Like, have you felt that? playing in Melbourne?
Well, you don't often hear it from the team with the biggest home ground advantage, do you? Can't say whether I agree with it or not because I'm going to stay out of that.
John, how good is it that the AFL have price freeze finals tickets again?
Terrific.
How good is it for the fans?
Great for the fans. I think that we've seen the advantage of the fans this year, and I'm sure Collingwood obviously appreciate their fans turning up, and we appreciated our fans turning up and having a big voice in the last quarter. So I think that for the fans, it's great to be able to have the accessibility to the game, and I think that's a terrific thing to have for everybody.
What did you make of the celebrations at the end of the game? I mean, they went to a different level inside the SCG on Friday night.
It was awesome, wasn't it? It was just like, the sound and probably rivaled almost the prelim final we had up here a couple of years ago, and the whole place was rocking, and it's terrific that our supporters hopefully have had some great experiences at the SCG this year. The majority of the times, hopefully they've really enjoyed as they're walking away and say that the boys had a real crack and felt good about themselves when they leave the game. And I think they've been enormous this year for us. And we get to Melbourne this week with hopefully our South Melbourne people and friends and followers come along to the game as well. We're fortunate to be able to play in front of a home crowd, essentially, or some of the home crowd, hopefully down in Melbourne. The Essendon will be, what I hear is, it's almost a sellout or a sellout. So another big opportunity for our team.
John, how do you go about resting or managing, Brodie Grundy? He's gone through a huge amount of work. He's done brilliantly. Are you looking in the last two games potentially giving him a bit of a spell, or is he's good to go?
No, he feels good. We manage him during the week, and so that's important. We manage him during the week and take the load off him during the week, as we do a number of our players. So they're all on the individual programs during the week. So we're able to do that, and we're able to hopefully back that away so he's feeling fresh on match day, and we rely upon his ability to be able to understand his body and the fact that he's played 200 games of league footy. So we've still got some options we can use during the course of the game. I mean, obviously Hayden gives him a hand at times, and we've still got Joel that can do that as well. So we've got some flexibility to be able to manage him.
Callum Mills is taking a little while to get going. Are you concerned at all about his form at a crucial part of the season?
Oh, not really. I mean, it's to be expected. It just takes. It's a tough game to play. No matter how good a player you are, it's a tough game to play. And he's still got an enormous presence in our team without necessarily having to do it through kicks, marks, and handballs. He's still a vital member of our team, and the way he leads the team is so critical. He sees the game so well. He gets stuff done. So from that perspective, he's still a vitally important member of our team.
John, how do you assess the defence? Obviously, at the end, we saw some amazing last-ditch efforts from people, James Jordan, Callum. How do you assess the defence at the moment? Are you feeling more confident with the likes of Lewis coming in, or have you generally been happy with how they've been?
We've been a bit up and down, but I think that what the last quarter showed, there were some great efforts to be able to withstand it, genuine heat in the contest, and be able to win the ball and then get it back going our way. There was a number of examples of that. Our two-way play, our run to get down and support and help our defenders was of a really high end, and then we're able to win the ball and get it back on our terms. And I thought that was a highlight, particularly the last quarter. So our players get confidence out of that.
John, how good is it for the rest of the league that potentially there could be no Victorian teams hosting the finals in week one?
I haven't thought about that just yet. I've got other things on my mind at the moment.
Was that one of the most challenging weeks of your longest serving coach, but to turn around from that Port Adelaide performance to what we saw?
There's a challenge. There's all different challenges. I mean, I've said it before, and you can't predict what challenges you're coming up with as an AFL coach. Last week was a bit of a different challenge. It doesn't mean it was any more significant or insignificant compared to other challenges that we've faced over the many years. You just get faced with a different challenge. I thought our ability for our players to come back out though and start the game the way we did, the first 10-15 minutes was really strong, but also finish the game the way we did was a real credit to our playing group. And to come back after a disappointing loss and play in front of a big crowd, 40-odd thousand here at the SCG, and play against a good team, last year's grand final, last year's premiership team, be 27 points down and come back like we did was a fantastic effort.
John, there's been a lot of close losses. Sorry. There's been a lot of close losses, and this was the one where you really turned it. How big is that psychologically for the players to know that in those closing moments that they never say die and they can come back?
Yeah, I mean, even those ones that we did lose, and we've lost a few pretty tight ones, but there's probably 3 or 4 of those we had opportunities to win it, or shots at goal, we just missed them. So if they go through, all of a sudden you're terrific in those moments, and you've got it. So it does change a little bit just because of one action or one thing that happens during the course of the game. So you have to take out some of the things that we did well in those games as well. And we thought our players on the weekend were able to execute those moments extremely well in the last probably 5 minutes. We hit the front with still 5 minutes to go, which was, when you consider there was still a fair bit of footy to be played, we thought we were able to make the most of those moments. And there's still mistakes being made. Not everything goes right, but I thought our effort and our intensity and our ability to think clearly was a big factor in us getting it done.
You made just a couple more, please. You made a bold, brave call to give the players 2 days off after 1-1-2 loss. Were there any times in that game you were thinking, geez, did I make the right call, or you always knew, judging your players, you'd made the right call?
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, we were going into the Port Adelaide game thinking that was the right thing to do the week after anyway. So, back-to-back 6-day breaks, travel, all those type of things come into it. We travel every second week, unlike some teams. And so, at times you've got to be flexible in your ability to be able to, adjust your program. So we're able to do that, and our players appreciated that. We'll do what we need to do to adjust as we're going in.